We always say people fall in love. We love the idea of a classic romance about a guy and a girl and their eyes meet across the mass of people, and the rest of it is a love story like no other. Intense connection, powerful, and instant romance, and a happily ever after. But the older I get, the more I realize that falling in love might sound romantic, but it's not always healthy. Because falling in love means you lose your balance. You lose your sense of direction, and sometimes you lose yourself. What if love isn't something that you have to fall into, but something that you should step into on purpose? My uncommon advice today is just that. Why stepping into love intentionally is actually better for your emotional health, your peace, and your long-term happiness. When we say we fell in love, we usually mean that we got swept up in the feelings. The butterflies and the late night talks and all the excitement. It's a rush. It's a dopamine hit. And your brain is throwing a party because someone finally sees you. But here's the problem. When you fall, you lose control. When you fall, you usually end up hurting yourself. You stop asking important questions like, do I actually know this person? Are we emotionally compatible? Do we even want the same kind of life? When you fall, you're reacting. You're not choosing. And that's why so many people end up brokenhearted. Not because love failed, but because they mistook intensity for intimacy. And real intimacy takes time. Falling is instant. Let me tell you a kind of embarrassing story. When I met my wife, Liz, I was sure that I was in love almost instantly. I saw her across the room and I was like, that girl, I want her. And guess what? She was amazing. She was smart and kind and easy to talk to and even easier to look at. And she was everything I thought I wanted. And one night, I kissed her. It was my first kiss ever. And it was this huge emotional moment. And I looked at her and I told her, I love you. And it felt perfect, like something out of a movie. But a few days later, something didn't feel right. And I brought it up to somebody that I trusted, and they told me the truth that I needed to hear. I didn't really love this girl. It wasn't that she'd done anything wrong, it was me. I realized that I wanted to love her, but I didn't know her. I didn't know what made her angry. I didn't know how she handled disappointment. I didn't know what she was like on her worst day. And even worse, she didn't know me. She didn't know my deepest, darkest secrets. She didn't know if she could trust me, much less love me. So I did something that was embarrassing and it felt horrible in the moment. I told her, I have to take this back. I want to love you, but I can't say that I love you because I really don't know you and you don't really know me. It was so awkward and it was humbling and it was hard, but it was honest. And she was pretty upset, as I'd be too. But honestly, that one conversation became the healthiest foundation we could ever have to build a relationship on. Because from that point forward, we decided we weren't going to fall into love. We were going to step into it, step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. And we decided to get to know each other first. And then, once we really knew each other, choose to love from a place of knowing. Stepping into love means that love isn't an accident, it's an intention. It means you're choosing to bring your whole self, your mind, your heart, your values, your good, your bad, your ugly, your dignity and depravity. You're saying, I refuse to allow you to love a version of me that is masqueraded. I choose to give you the chance to love the real me. And man, that is scary because you then have to show that person all of you. And for some of us who have never felt like you could be the real you because you were afraid everyone would see that real you and reject you, this is a terrifying thought. But if you can push past the fear and step into love, the beauty is you don't lose yourself. You find yourself in the presence of someone who sees you and respects you and your boundaries and your growth. You're not trying to complete each other. You're trying to complement each other. And falling is based on chemistry, but stepping into love is based on character. One is emotional gravity, but the other is emotional maturity. You know, for so much of my life, I had to hide. I had to hide what I felt like was too embarrassing, a part of me that was too ashamed because of what I was doing behind closed doors. And you may be able to relate to that idea that if somebody saw inside of me the worst part of me, there was no way that they could love me. But the beauty of allowing somebody to see all of you is that they get to choose to love you, the you that you thought was unlovable. So here's what happens when you step into love instead of falling. You get to stay grounded in who you are. You communicate instead of assuming. You don't lose your identity just because you want to keep the relationship alive. And you stop confusing passion for partnership. When you fall, you say, I can't help it. But when you step, you say, I choose it. And that choice, that conscious decision is where emotional health lives, because you shouldn't be consumed by love. It should help you grow. Healthy love doesn't drain you, it strengthens you. It teaches you patience, empathy, and honesty. And maybe, just maybe, if you've always felt like love has consumed you, maybe you haven't been in love ever. Maybe all you have experienced is something that is labeled as love, but really is a masquerade for codependency. So if you're listening to this and thinking about your own relationships, I want to encourage you to slow down. Don't fall. Step. Step with awareness. Step with honesty. Step when you've taken the time to get to know that person and yourself. There's a quote by Tim Keller that really hits home on this. He says, "To be loved but not known is comforting but superficial. To be known and not loved is our greatest fear. But to be fully known and fully loved is, well, a lot like being loved by God. It is what we need more than anything. Because real love can't be based on a fantasy. But if you decide to live in the truth, you can know what it is to be fully known and fully loved at the same time. And true love isn't about losing control. It's about walking side by side, knowing exactly where your feet are going. That's not falling in love. That's becoming fully known and fully loved." Thanks for watching today's Uncommon Advice. If you disagreed with anything I said, I would love to hear your disagreements or your thoughts in the comments below. And if you are new to the channel and you're a first-time watcher, hit that subscribe button for more content just like this. And if you're somebody that this is really hitting home for you, like this video and share it with someone who's ready to stop falling in love and start stepping into love. Also, side note, I wrote a song called Known and Loved that was inspired by this story in my life. So if you want to hear that song, just let me know. Thanks for watching, and remember, in a world that is common, choose to be uncommon.